Alright guys, we are here with the first game of the Thursday SCS tournament. I am here with my co-caster, Niz. Are you here with us, buddy? I assume Niz will be with us any second. But yeah, we have Dota Waffle Squad.
My bad. Sorry.
My
mic is muted.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm an amateur. I'm sorry.
It happens. We all make mistakes. This game started really quick, actually. Normally it takes a little longer for us to get in, so I haven't updated the title. I'll get that done in a second for you guys. But we have Jolly Judas is the actual tag they're playing under in the tournament versus the Dota Waffle Squad. We obviously have watched the Jolly Judas before. They are Goofy and Indie Bear and Crane, and they'll be having one more person that we know, and they're playing again in this tournament. They picked up Death Prophet, no surprise. We've talked about in multiple casts that Goofy really likes to play that Death Prophet. But on the other note, Dota Waffle Squad, I really like the Ancient Apparition pickup, as well as the... Actually, I really like the Razor with the Ancient Apparition, which I'll get to in a second. But what's your opinion so far of what's going on, Niz?
I think right now it's all kind of standard in the sense of, you know, we've seen Goofy pick the Death Prophet before, but the AA Razor is kind of a little different. I like AA as a hero. I used to play him a lot, and Razors typically played a lot more as a counter to Void, but they banned out the Void, so it's very interesting to see what they plan to do with that.
Well, to get on my thought, they do ban the Tinker Hat. I like that. I kind of like that decision. They are Radiant side, so honestly, you just don't want to play against Tinker. That's understandable. Shadow Shaman, a very strong ban up, is the ban, especially with a strong pushing hero like Death Prophet already on the table. But the reason I really like the Razor here is the nature of Death Prophet is to run in and fight, and what Razor can do is tank up, and then obviously damage sap the Death Prophet. Yeah, you won't be really removing her right clicks, but it gives Razor right clicks, and he just stands there and fights. And if Razor kills Death Prophet before Death Prophet kills Razor, then his team's going to have a much stronger advantage in that team fight by virtue of what those heroes bring to team fights. And then Ancient Apparition, I just love how his ultimate works. It's not removed by Crack and Shell, an important thing to note, as well as it prevents the healing of Death Prophet's ultimate. So if she's in a clutch situation and she's affected by that frostbite, or frostbitten, she's not going to be able to get that healing off, and she will die. And I really like that pickup for that reason. However, he is really squishy. So if you get behind with an AA, things can fall apart decently quickly.
Yeah, but he typically likes to sit back anyway, so he can really choose where he wants to position himself in the fight, a lot more so than a lot of other supports. A lot of other supports have to kind of get in there and cast their spells, and they have to be really safe and choose their points wisely. But AA, you know, he typically stands back, throws his ult in. From a distance.
Well, and to add to your point, Chilling Touch is also a very long-range spell because it adds to you no matter what, and the cast range is the cast radius is large, and the cast range as well is large. And Vortex, very similar. I believe it's an 1800 cast range, so you never really have to be in your those fights. And that's what to extrapolate on your point about how he stays back even more is a lot of teams prefer in the competitive scene or do prefer sometimes to pick up that Midas on him and have him split the map and use his ultimate as like an artillery spell, because he can be there without being there. And yes, he adds a lot to the early game, but in the mid game his spells kind of start to fall off a little bit, minus Ice Vortex. But Vengeful Spirit, I like that pickup, but at the same time I want to add the caveat that right now the only stuns they have are unreliable in the cold feet, because you have to keep the target locked down, and Vengeful Spirit stun only becomes a 1.75 second stun with 4 points in it. It starts out as a 1.45 second stun, so it's a really low duration stun, high damage, so it doesn't guarantee lockdown, but it's still a great hero, don't get me wrong. I just want to get you guys seeing that there's not guarantee lockdown, whereas right now for Jolly Judas, they have a lot of really strong guaranteed lockdown right now and team fight control.
Yeah, and this is a lot of the same heroes we saw them play last time. Obviously last time they played Rasta instead of Tidehunter, but yeah, just heroes that they're comfortable with, and that's what they've been picking a lot. We've got two different heroes two different players that we saw in this game than we saw last week. With Futsi, he's a very good support player, and I'm actually not sure who the other guy is, but maybe he's
reserve time.
I don't know. Maybe we're going to see some
He's
special stuff from him.
he's
But
dripping in MMR apparently because he's got many problems. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot to say too about what you bring up about just the safety, and they pick it because they're very comfortable with it. And in Dota, understanding your hero as thoroughly as you can is is a very important aspect of the game, because it's nice to know how every hero works together, sure, but if you know what your hero does in almost every single situation possible in the game, you're going to be really strong with that hero, and you're going to do things that people can't do with that hero, and that's what we see a lot with professional players. They bring out strengths in that hero that you don't see. And I like that. Sticking with your guns in Dota can pay off a lot of the time. And Silencer here, awesome pickup, very powerful, but the Skywrath Mage, I like that as well. Right now, I feel like Jolly Judas is extremely strong mid-early game, and Dota Waffle Squad does as well. They're just different ways to get to, like, it is different means too, because they don't have any necessary lockdown, but they can control how the fights go down with swap, and then obviously zoning with the Razor, zoning with the Silencer, Silencer's ultimate to, you know, cog up the system for Jolly Judas, and timing that Ravage after Epicenter, canceling Sand King's Blink. But then again, if Jolly Judas gets the fight they want, they have all of the burst and team fight to just clear the deck immediately.
yeah, you see, with the Dota Waffle Squad, with that Silencer, it gives them a lot of strength in team fights, and it gives them the ability to turn a team fight around, because a well-placed Silencer ult can really do a lot of work in a team fight. But once again, we see the Jolly Judas picking a very strong mid-game oriented team, and we saw them even do really well in the first 10 minutes of the last game that we casted, and they completely dominated that game, and through the mid-game they were doing really, really well, but then they threw their lead a couple times. And I know after they got knocked out of the tournament, they went back and they went over that game several times, and had a big discussion about it, and why they threw everything. So we'll look to see them kind of clean up their mid game this time around, and because they're pretty much picking a very, very, very similar lineup to what they played last time.
Yeah, they did have a void last time.
It'll be interesting to see how Dota Waffle Squad will deal with the early game pressure.
I really like this, Finn, because, well, first of all, they banned now, last bans were Juggernaut, and I really like the Bat Rider from Jolly Judas. Surprising he gets through this far into the pool with how strong that hero is in a lot of people's opinion, including my own. But I love Sven when you're dealing with a team who is strong in the mid game, because Sven just needs a decent amount of farm and a decent amount of levels, and as long as he gets to BKB Mom Daedalus, and you get one good fight, he has the chance to just clear your entire team in 2 cleaves, and it is terrifying. And Sven is one of those heroes that with the way they reworked his, God, I cannot remember right now, the War Cry, it gives him so much extra movement speed and armor, and then they gave him, I believe, a total of a +4 or +5 base armor buff in 6.82 or 6.81. Very recently. So Sven has just gotten overall stronger early on and can become a monster in the late game.
Yeah, he's as long as he's always stunning heroes and not Boris, he's typically a really strong pick. But I've always loved Sven, or in Han he used to be referred to as he was Hammerstorm. He used to refer to as Slammerstorm just because he was such
now I remember his
incredibly
Han
manly
counterpart.
hero, and that's what I just love about Sven. He's a hero who can just run in there, stun, and just start swinging his big sword away. And Marana, that's interesting.
So I feel like this game is going to be a very interesting and very, I don't know how to explain this, but it's almost going to be like a very delicate dance between these two teams. They both have the capability to control their lanes in the game and really go into a strong mid game. But that being said, I'll go ahead and introduce the Radiant and get this game started. For Jolly Judas, we have Goofy playing the mid Death Prophet, Futsa playing the support Futsi, playing, I believe the support Marana might be a core Marana based on her build. Actually, yeah, it should be a core Marana. We have Indie Bear playing the support Skywrath Mage, Mo MMR, Mo Problems. And finally, we have Crane in the off-lane Tidehunter.
Alright, I'll be quick to introduce the Dota Waffle Squad here on the Dire side, as they have smoked up and they're moving towards the Radiant Jungle. But we have the Dawn on Razor, we got Seviel on the Ancient Apparition, we got a stand-in Stimmer on Sven, We got Hasty on the Vengeful Spirit and Ice Tea on Silencer.
It looks like things are about to get really heated here as they do throw down that ward. The smoke is popped. They're in position. The Radiant is not aware of this in any means. And there they go. The stun goes out onto Indie Bear from the Vengeful Spirit, follow up by the Static Link. And, oh, never mind. The arrow's going to hit onto Stemmer. Looks like Sand King might fall down as well as he does Burrow Strike through. But just great follow up on all their stuns. And that's the power of Chilling Touch, to be entirely honest, is every single one of their heroes does plus 60 damage. And they have that AoE stun from Sven. It was just very great rotations. Now, one thing that's very important to note is this is like very early in the game. They split all this experience in gold, and it's nice for it. But the game is not over, and Jolly Judas needs to collect themselves and come out strong in the laning phase, because you can easily turn these things around, especially when they go aggressive. Aggressive tri-lanes, to me, like what's going on right now, we do have a regen bottom, it's kind of like an all-in for both teams. Whichever team, if any team comes out very far ahead in the tri-lane, then it means they're basically going to win the laning phase and early mid-game for sure. Because it's 3 heroes. It's a lot of invested into these lanes. So the team who comes out on a big advantage will generally dominate the mid-game. But if it breaks even, it could really go anywhere.
I've always thought that move that they made where you smoke in, you stand in the pull camp, you wait for your smoke to break, you drop your ward so you can see, and then you come out of the trees and get a gank. I've always been a little wary about that play because, yes, they got the kill. They got first blood. They actually got 2 kills. They got half a level advantage in a lane that they're going to be try versus try. But that was a dead giveaway to where their ward was going to be. It was an easy sentry to get rid of their observer ward. And now the Radiant team is just able to pull. So how is this dire aggressive tri lane going to be able to punish them? We'll have to wait and see, as we see Venge actually moving into the jungle now, trying to control that space to the left side. They're all moving over now, trying to maybe catch the Sand King.
Well, and the one thing they do have to control this lane is they have a lot of stuns comparatively to the other side. Sand King and Mirana are nice, but honestly, Stormhammer is an incredibly strong and easy to land stun. But Mirana Leap can dodge it if you time it correctly. So we'll honestly be seeing who they go on. They can't go on the Mirana because if she hits E at the correct time and leaps, then wasted initiation. And honestly, Vengeful Spirit's stun is even easier to dodge by Mirana. So I think you're kind of right, but at the same time, it's gonna be a lot on their coordination and just skill as a team.
But here's the problem: they walked over and they put a sentry ward in the pull camp to block, so that there's not going to be any pulling shenanigans coming out of the Radiant squad.
They are going to go on Indie Bear. He was slightly out of position, and they're going to line up the Magic Missile afterwards, and with the Chilling Touch, it's a free kill. Arrow did fling out by Futsi, but it's not enough with the amount of right-click damage they're getting.
See, the point I was trying to get at there was the Mirana and the Mirana and the Skywrath just need to play a little bit safer in the tri lane, because you've got a Sand King who can be in the jungle, he can be stacking, he can be doing his Sandstorm stuff, although he's not level 2. He needs to get level 2 in lane before he can do that. And as long as the supports, the AA and the Venge, keep showing in lane like they were, there's no threat of him getting ganked. But now they are roaming into the jungle. They're trying to make sure that he's not doing anything like that, and they have sentryed off one of his camps. But Indy's already moved over to stack another camp.
Yeah.
By the pillar in the Radiant jungle.
That's very important, because honestly, they are going to get a lot out of an early blink on Sand King. It can change the game completely, and we haven't really touched base on middle yet because there's been a decent amount of action going on bottom. 9 last hits for Goofy, while the Silencer is at 13 and 7, so definitely a notable advantage going out. He is about 240 experience, now through 200 experience behind the other off lane.
I don't want to interrupt,
mid
but
lane.
Sky and Sand King have,
they have
smoked
gotten
up,
around.
and they've drawn on the map. They're going to come behind mid.
The concussive shot does go out, followed up by the Burrow Strike. This should be a very easy kill, and that will be the first one to go on the board for them, and that's very important in this situation. Every single kill they can get in this region that's been sitting there for 3 minutes is going to give Goofy the ability to stay in that lane. Actually, you know what? The Dire team doesn't like this idea. They're going to go ahead and use the Warcry. Arrow does fly out, bump Mirana, and hits the AA in the background, and Goofy goes ahead and denies the rune. Doesn't try to play too greedy there, and I really like that decision. Calm, collected play. They're not going to let you get it. Don't try to go for it.
Yeah, that was good coordination there. What I'm actually finding quite surprisingly in this game so far is that Tide is actually winning in the top lane against Razor in a 1v1, which I wouldn't have expected. I don't think. I think Razor would be able to play fairly aggressive on the Tide and be able to kind of put a lot more pressure on him. But
Well, it looks like maybe in middle lane, the Sand King will get out alive. Nothing's going to happen there. But he does get his level 3 great. Again, oh, never mind. Stun goes out by Sven, and great dodge by the Mirana, using that leap at the last second to get out of that stun. But what I was going to say is a little play by the Radiant team right there, Jolly Judas, using the fact that Goofy was going for that DD rune to get some experience on Sand King, but hold that thought. There's going to be multiple heroes diving under the T1 tower bottom for the Mirana. It looks like they are going to give up the pursuit as their creep wave is dying. The arrow does fling out. Going to barely miss the Vengeful Spirit and the AA. But to finish my thought, they got level 3 on the Sand King in middle by efficient rotations is basically the TLDR. So Sand King can now jungle, and that's a big step in the game for them. I think the precedent's on Dire right now. They need to get something done, and as much as it sounds like, you know, we're saying Jolly Judas is doing everything right, that's when it's time for the Dire to change things up and change the pace of the game.
yeah, and I think it's
And
definitely
middle
gonna
lane
fall on the-
concussive shot is going to go out onto the silencer as well as the arcane seal. Arcane bolts are following, and with the DD on Goofy, right clicks might be enough. No, he does hesitate a little bit and misses that second right click, and the two supports for the Dire will smoke up middle and go for their own gank here in a second, I assume.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's got to fall on the Vengeful Spirit and the A in terms of doing something.
Oh, that
It-
Crypt
that's
Swarm
not
by Goofy is going to headshot the silencer, and now this smoke ink is both revealed and wasted by the Dire supports, and they're kind of struggling for what to do right now. Honestly, I think what they need to do is rotate. Can't really rotate to get gank a Tide Hunter. This is one of those situations where it's... I would have to sit back and watch the replay to give a better answer, but the Dire team is in kind of a rock and a hard place because you can't really gank anyone, especially... I mean, maybe the Death Prophet's the easiest, but you can't gank a Tide Hunter. He has Ravage, and you can't gank a Mirana because she has Leap, so what do?
I think right now the problem is that they're playing reactively and they
Stun
can't-
will go out onto Indie Bear. Warcry is popped by Sven. It looks like he tries to go for this kill, but an arrow will zone him out. Great play.
Yeah, the supports of Dota Waffle Squad have just been playing reactively, and they need to be kind of anticipating what the other team's doing, because every time there's a rotation, they're reacting to it, but they're getting there too late. So they have to try and better read what the supports on the Radiant side are
Goofy
doing.
does have an Invis rune moving into this bottom lane. This is the setup. They use the concussive shot onto Sven. He throws out his stun as well, but the arrow will follow up. 1 second stun onto Sven. Arcane bolts as well as right clicks and a 3-man Crypt Swarm. The silencer ult does come out to help stall this, and right clicks are going out onto Footsie, but it's not enough as the AA will get stunned by Burrow Strike. The Sven does get out on the left side, and the VS is trying to fog herself, but it doesn't look like she's actually going to be able to do this. She might be able to pull this off. She does have a TP. She's going for it. Do they have the right? Yes, they have enough right clicks. Not even needing the arrow, even though it was thrown out. The good news is Sven lived from this, but the bad news is that they're the ones that are supposed to be doing things. And the Radiant team is completely fine with sitting back, but they get more out of the map by making good rotations. So just heads up play by them, and Goofy using that Invis rune very well.
Radiant's middle tower is under siege.
Yeah, it was just once again like Dire side trying to make something happen, but Radiant was just on top of it. They were there, and they just said, all right, you know, you can put some aggression on here, but we're just going to outnumber you, and we're going to get a kill out of it. And they've, you know, they started this game down 0-2, and now they're ahead 4-3. And a lot of that's actually been on the back of just, you know, they've been unable to go on Futsie because he's just been, he's actually leapt every single stun I think I've seen them throw at him, and he's just been playing very safe, very cautiously in this tri lane, or in this bottom safe lane. So they haven't been able to go on him. Goofy's been reacting fairly well to any rotations. And of course, you've got a Tide Hunter top. You can't gank a Tide Hunter.
And meanwhile, they're actually going to try to gank the Razor instead. Ravage goes out after the Ancient Seal. That is going to amplify the damage. Razor is a tanky target, however, and with that speed boost and the headdress, he might be able to live here. TP in from the Vengeful Spirit might be enough. The Arcane Bolt, will it be enough to clean him up? No, he lives with 5 HP. But great TP by that Vengeful Spirit. There was a chance Crane might have gotten in range to get one more right click, and that would have been enough to get the kill. It's a good thing that Razor lived there, but again, this is not a good situation when all the pressure's going on you, and in mid lane they will get the Sand King. This looked like an attempted gank by the Sand King and the Mirana. Will get turned around As Sven maybe TP'd, not entirely
Yeah.
sure, but he was there. Okay, so great TP
Yeah,
by
they
him.
went
And
deep for the silencer, and then Sven TP'd, and they tried to get out, but Sanking was just too deep.
well, the good news out of this is that the last two gank attempts coming out of Jolly Judas have been either failed or turned around. And then, honestly, the bad news is, though, is that, again, Jolly Judas is the one making the plays and bringing the action, right? And the tempo is in their control right now. And that's exactly what we want to see Dota Waffle Squad do instead. We want to see them dictate the pace, where things are happening, and how they're happening, because that's what their lineup is good at.
Yeah, the last two things we've seen are still reactive, but they've been very quick to react.
Mhm.
I think that's important. It's yes, the Radiant's maybe going a little deep for a kill, but the Dire side, the supports both the Venge and actually, it was the Sven who TP'd, but both of them TP'd and ended up saving an ally on their team, and one of them actually turned around and got a kill on the Sand King on that failed a gank attempt mid. So, they are still reacting, but they're doing it quickly, and it's getting them back in the game. Now they just need to work on getting 6 on A, and then they can really start making stuff happen on the map.
He is only 500 or 450 experience now, which isn't too bad, but Goofy does have an Invis rune in the top lane. Looks like they want to try to set something up on this Razor. He is, however, sending out his mechanism. He was hard to kill before, and he's going to be harder to kill now. And this, I believe, is the first mechanism to be picked up, as Crane is actually sending his out a little bit later, but point is, both mechanisms are now out on the map, functionally, and this game is going to get really
Sand King
interesting.
just TP top, and he's going to pick up his Blink Dagger at the side shop here.
That's really smart play. Instead of buying it and sending it
Has
out
shown
on the
himself to
courier.
lane.
I mean, they might have been able to see. I believe that ping was showing that, but we'll see. Razor does have his mech, and so does Crane. There is TP support coming out of the Vengeful Spirit, the AA, as well as the Sven. So we'll see what happens here. Razor is going to back up for now, which leads me to believe that they're going to instead apply a 3-hero pressure bottom. They did pop God's Strength, and we'll get quite a bit of damage on this tower. If not, get it before this tower goes down, which might be a really smart play here, because now, after they get this bottom T1, they can go ahead and choose to back up. But it looks like Crane is going to TP in and immediately use the Ravage. The Global comes out onto Crane as well as the Sven Hammer. They use the Cold Feet as well as the right clicks with Chilling Touch. Might be enough to kill Crane, and they get it. Meanwhile, top lane, nothing happened to the Razor, so a free tower and a free kill. So a little bit of interesting movement out of Jolly Judas, but that's the kind of tempo setting that Dota Waffles needs to do. Make the play and make Jolly Judas react, and if they react poorly, capitalize. If they react correctly, get out and don't lose anything.
Yeah, there was definitely some miscommunication there.
Dire's middle tower is
I'm
under
pretty sure
attack.
they thought more than one person,
Paying
more than
attention.
just Crane was doing the TP there. But,
AA ult does fly middle, and the Sven is Warcry. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get in range unless there is a magic missile, but not in range for that either. So they will just defend this tower, and again, this means that there is a 1 tower advantage going to the side of Jolly Judas.
I'm just going to do a quick item check here, because we still... Unfortunately, that death to Crane... Oh, sorry, he did pick up the mech before that, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that had set him back on his mech, because they
Mid
saw
will
him
get
only
pressured too.
If we go-
Under siege.
They pop God's Strength again,
Sand King.
actually. And Sand King is channeling the epicenter. He gets 4 people in it, as well as they get the Ancient Seal onto the Sven. The AO comes out and hits 2, kills the Sand King. Crane will get affected by it as well, and it looks like the Sven's going to go down to the background by a tower hit. No, he's going to live with 7 HP. Never mind, he actually does go down. Goofy gets his ulti off, and as well as the VS is going to go down here. Goofy gets a kill on the VS with both the ulti and the Crypt Storm, and now Indie Bear gets a double kill. 4 heroes down for Dota Waffle Squad, and great rotations coming out of Jolly Judas. It's
That was
exactly
very
what
good.
their
They
team needs
won
to
that
do.
team fight without a Ravage, and Sand King had a really good Blink Epi, but he didn't have mana to stun. So even without that, they still were able to capitalize on that team fight. Sven almost got away there. That was really, really close, but Sky did get the Arcane Bolt off, and it slowly flew across and killed him.
Yep.
But very good team fight for this Radiant squad.
Well, I think it's also here worth noting that the Sven did still pick up his Mask of Madness and is now only a BKB away from being really terrifying. And then it's going to be really hard for Jolly Judas to even take him down, because the only physical damage they really have is the Anchor Smash and Death Prophet's ultimate. So it's going to be hard until Mirana picks up some major right-click items to even do anything.
These 4 of these heroes on the dark
Yeah,
side
they're
are
ready
on
to
the hunt
go.
right now.
They're ready to
not
go.
s-
Futse is a little bit out of position here, and if he doesn't leave fast enough, the stun is going to go out. He should have time to dodge this, and he does. He is in the trees right now, and they do pop the ulti. If they have any sentry wards, they'd be able to kill him,
They
but it
don't.
doesn't look like they have any detection. The Mirana ult, however, will expire. If they wait this out and assume that he didn't TP, they might be able to get this kill. We'll see if they have that kind of game sense. However, in the mid lane, it's going to get pushed out by Goofy. Looks like they're just farming. Do they know he's here? It doesn't look like they do. It looks like they are assuming he TP'd out, which could come to bite them, as he could get an arrow that they're not expecting the angle of, and he is going to leap out and instead go to the side shop and grab a TP. The Sand King setting up doesn't have enough mana. Now he does for the Burrow Strike, and Blink comes off cooldown, but that AA ult will disable it for about 12 seconds, if I'm not mistaken.
Dire's top tower
No, 8
is being
seconds, sorry.
besieged.
It's really low, short duration at the
Radiant's
beginning.
bottom tower
Yep.
is being attacked.
Aghanims is so good on that hero, but Goofy maybe caught off a little bit as they don't know that Goofy was there. I don't know why he popped his Mask of Madness. I guess they had some sight on Goofy, but he will get away. Nothing will happen here. Just a little bit of pressuring and positioning. Nothing too exciting going on. And really quickly, I'm sorry guys, we are dropping frames. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Worst case scenario, I apologize, but all the VODs will be uploaded the next day or two, and all these casts will be there too. So if you guys stay, I appreciate your patience. Otherwise, I completely understand. I'm not entirely sure. It shouldn't be my internet or anything like that. Honestly, everything is running fine.
Radiant's
So,
middle tower is
again, I
under
apologize.
You don't even care, do you?
Arrow will
Radiant's
actually hit Razor. Maybe they want to go off of this. The Burrow Strike from the Sand King, but the Global coming out of Silencer as well as a great Sven stun leads into the AO, but the Ravage coming out of Goofy will hit 3 heroes as well. 3-man Anchor Smash, but that's healed up immediately by the mechanism. The Sven, as well as everyone else, is still fighting from the Dire side. AA is just about to fall, or just fell. Goofy is going to clean up the Sven over to the right side, and meanwhile, they will get the... Yeah, the Mirana by this Sven, and actually, yeah, they do get the Vengeful Spirit as well, so a 3 for 3 in that situation. However, honestly, the same position heroes are alive. No. I guess technically Razor's the safe lane farmer, so maybe a little bit of an advantage to Jolly Judas because they have a strong push lineup, and they could capitalize on this advantage a little bit, but I don't know. What do you think, Niz? Do you think anyone came out ahead there? Besides, I guess the tower went down too, so...
I think I actually have to give that to the Dire side there. They got the tower, and it was a relatively even trade, in the sense that it was 3 for 3. They won a team fight. Well, they won a team fight in the sense that they got the tower and they came out just a little bit ahead. But what I'd like to see right now is the Radiant side to capitalize on the fact that the Dire side has used their Silencer ult. Global Silence is on cooldown for 50 seconds. Yes, you don't have Ravage, but you do have Epicenter. You didn't use that in the last fight. So I'd like to see them actually put a little pressure on. But you see Dire actually is pressuring the top tower here, which I think may actually be not the wisest. We've seen
And they do get the 3-man Burrow Strike as well as the Anchor Smash that's going to clear 2 heroes immediately. The Silencer down to 167 HP. Should die to this Arcane Bolt. The question is, Vengeful Spirit does get the swap off. That won't save him because the Arcane Bolt will not get disjointed. And Vengeful Spirit will now die as well. There's not enough mana for a stun, but they will go ahead and just body block him with right clicks. That'll be enough, going an double kill to Indy Baron. I'm sorry I was responding in chat in case you guys didn't hear about the frame drop, but Sven was just farming that entire time and a little bit out of position because that engagement started right here, and Sven was, of course, in the jungle
Dire's
over
top
there.
tower is being attacked.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a questionable play by the Dire side to really
Ayo.
push that.
Dire's top tower
Not going to do
has
anything,
fallen.
but hits 4.
May stop them from pushing. But, I don't think they were going to push anyways. Although they do have Exorcism up. Ravage will be up in 10. Yeah, maybe
Mech
if that
only
any
15
ult
seconds
hit,
away.
They may still stay, actually.
They will stay, and honestly, the Dire is going to converge on this, and I think this is the
Dire's
right
top
decision
tower
here.
is
Yeah, you're going to
being
be fighting into the Ravage, and I guess you'll be fighting into Ravage and DP ult, so
Oh,
it's maybe
there's
not worth
a
it, but a
lot right now.
5-second arrow as well as the Mystiflare follow-up to blink in by the Tidehunter. They did get global, so they won't be able to get their abilities off yet, and the Sand King goes down before he does anything. Mirana down to 99 HP, will get one clicked, or right-clicked by this one and go down immediately. Goofy chooses to pop his ultimate, but the A ult is going to hit him as well as Crane, so now nothing's going to happen from that heal. The silence is still on Sven. He will not be able to get a stun off for now, but they do go ahead and double stun and kill the Tidehunter. The swap from the Vengeful Spirit will bring Goofy back into the fight, and this might be the death of Goofy in a team wipe. And an ultra kill going to Sven, and if Dota Waffle Squad is going to win this game, this is how you win the game. And I don't know why Goofy bought back there a little bit
That's
of a mistake there, but Honestly, I think that was just maybe a little going a little far to set up that fight from Jolly Judas, but honestly, it just looked like strong execution from the Dire with the timing of the global, the AA ult.
Yeah, the global ultimate, the global silence from the silencer was just right on time. It was just perfect. Tide was just blinking in. He was just pressing that R button for his Ravage, but global silence came out, and then Tide was in a bad spot. And I don't know what happened to the Sand King with his ult, but maybe it got hit by the global silence as well. I know he fell soon after to the Sven, but I didn't get to see that part of the fight. But yeah, terrific team fight for the Dire side there. We see they are using the Radiant side is using Moonlight Shadow to put some more pressure on
And
him.
they do get the Yules onto Sven. That does make the concussive shot miss, but with the Ancient Seal as well as the Mystic Flare Vision, they should be able to get, or the Arcane Bolt. Mystic Flare does get thrown down, and that is an important kill considering he did get that Ultra Kill. The Ultra Kill itself is reliable gold, so he will not lose it from dying there, as he does still have about 3k gold, but getting that kill on him is still important, because it will stall his farm, and it will stall his experience gain, and keep him off the map for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, unfortunately they did miss their combo there with the Yules into the arrow, but because Sven isn't holding any of the components for the BKB, or he hasn't finished his BKB, he's not quite that tanky yet to be able to survive that. But they're actually going to lose a tower because of it.
Global Silence will go out. The 4-staff in by Silencer. Looks like he wants to initiate that. He does get the the Silence onto Mirana. She leaps out of it. Goofy will pop the ultimate, and here we go. This will be a good initiation with the 4-man Ravage from Goofy, and also the Burrow Strike just in the back on Stimmer. Sven will go down. The arrow follows up onto Silencer, and it looks like they will lose him as well. The Mirana is low HP, but so is the Vengeful Spirit. And Yules comes out onto Razor as they do get the Burrow Strike. Swap comes out, but that's just going to mean 2 more are going to die. And with these ultimates running, this should be a Raxer. The AA ultimate probably will clean up the Mirana, as the AA will fall in the background. Gush should be coming off of cooldown in just a second. They choose not to pursue, which is the smart decision. They should use the rest of this duration of Exorcism. Doesn't look like there is any, but they should use what they have right now to push. There's 4 heroes down.
There's plenty of TP.
But yeah, they should know they're not going to push. They're just going to take that fight. So great plays overall. I mean, they could have maybe gotten a little bit more. Maybe they'll go for the middle tower here, but they did get a lot out of that to begin with.
Yeah, that was a little bit of greedy plays from the Dota Waffle side there, Dota Waffle squad there. They lost their Sven and they were out of position to really defend that tower, but they chose to do it anyways, and they really forced it by using the global silence and then 4-staff from the silencer to kind of push himself in. But the Radiant side did a good job of backing out, but right below those trees, you saw Tide and Sand King were just standing around waiting. They knew as soon as that global silence wore off, they were going to be able to counter-initiate, and it was going to turn out really well for them, and of course it did.
Yeah. Definitely great analysis of that fight, and the virtue of Silencer is great, counter-initiating or stalling the initiation. He's not... I guess he can be a great initiator with his global, but you need something to lock them down during it. You know, like, if you just global them like that fight, that's what happens. They just run away. So.
I mean, I think a lot of that is you want to be able to initiate. If you really want to initiate, you need to be using the A ult and Sven running in like a madman, or even a Venge swap if someone's really out of position.
Yeah.
But you need something like that. Unfortunately, Sven doesn't have his BKB, so he can't really run in like a madman yet.
He's very close though.
But you definitely can't be forcing a fight with the global silence like that. That's just not going to work, because if Tide and Sand King are kind of staying back like they were there, then you're just going to get reinitiated on, and it's not going to turn out well for you.
Bottom tower will fall, and that will mark the end of all the Dire's T1s. Tower advantage now going to the Radiant, as they are up 2 towers. The top tower for them might fall, leading to a 1 tower advantage, but they're going to lose their bottom tower because they're going for that top tower. I'm not entirely sure this is the best trade, considering the fact that this is a Roche tower. A ultimate will fly out and hit 2, but they're not going to do anything with that, and they're just going to go ahead and push in 2 lanes, it looks like. But the Dire side is going to do, or Radiant side is going to do what they should do. Yeah, they have Exorcism, they have Ravage. If the Dire side does not try to fight this, they're just going to take their base, and the Exorcisms pop. T3 tower already taking a ton of damage down, 600 HP. The Razor's low mana, so he doesn't actually have enough for his mech, and they pop the Mirana. As soon as this tower goes down, they won't be able to do anything anymore, but great swap into Sun, so Goofy can't actually get off his Yules, and then again, the Silencer ulti is right as Crane wants to blink in. He will be able to get a Ravage off here in just a second, but it misses the spin because of the BKB, and now the epicenter comes in and cleans up the Razor as well as getting the epicenter on 3 more heroes. The spin goes down, AA ult hits another 2, and Silencer is now in the fight dealing as much as he can, but focus from Goofy's ultimate is going to cause him to fall. The Skywrath falls in the background, but this should be the end of their towers because Goofy will heal up from that ultimate. And they have earn charges as well. Maybe they back up here, but they got a lot out of that fight again, killing both the Sven and the Razor.
Yeah, that was actually...
Maybe VS will go down as well. Burrow Strike and the Gush with the Crypt Storm will be enough. Silencer or Goofy getting that kill. Now chasing down into Ice-T. They get the Yules to throw him up in the air. Crypt Storm as well as Anchor Smash and right clicks are enough to clean him up again. And here we go. Rax is getting sieged again.
The Dota Waffle squad needs to be careful here. They just keep throwing one hero after another. They could lose the game right here if they keep doing that. But, yeah, the Radiant's not going to stick around too long. They're just going to take their Rax and back. But,
well, Futsi looks like he wants to kind of poke the beast a little bit more, but they're not going to be able to follow it up and actually lock onto him. But yeah, the one thing that the Dire side really should be thinking about, besides, you know, collecting themselves and getting ready to use the Sven and their entire team like that fight, but just a little bit better like that other top T2 fight. They just need to get that Sven to get that double kill and then maybe the triple kill, and then he can clean up everything. Like everything else is cleanable, but you need to get first that Death Prophet down during her ultimate or not engage during it, and then you need to kill Tidehunter before he ravages or something like that. But they only got the range racks is what, long story short. And that's a big difference and will allow them to have a little bit more time and space to deal with the push that's coming out.
Yeah, I feel like this Dire side got a little down on themselves after losing that top fight. It seems like they didn't want to defend their tier 1 bottom. They were way out of position for that, even though they had all their ultimates up. They chose not to do it. And then I don't know if they were just caught off guard by the Radiant side just continually pushing or what, but they were nowhere to be seen.
Concussive shot does go out and hit the AA. As they smoked over a ward, this is a big deal. And because of that concussive shot, they should be aware of this. Shouldn't be able to actually get a gank out of this. They should also know that they... Oh, there we go. They will go ahead and see the Mirana. They go on to Goofy. Global Silence comes out so Goofy can't do anything. And he will just get popped. He did have his Bloodstone, so he's now down to 5 charges. Indy Bear does get swapped in. Takes quite a bit of damage, but they don't have another follow-up stun yet to get him. The Mirana does now get... Silence ends on her. The stun goes out onto Crane. He has Ravage up, so they could counter-initiate this. And the Epicenter in the background hits 3 people with the 3-man Burrow Strike, allowing a lot of damage, and they're all sitting very low. The Tidehunter blinks in and ravages and hits all 4. They get the Mystic Flare and clear it up, and Crane picks up a Refresher Orb. I didn't even see that, and gets the double Ravage, and bam! Entire team down, and 2 great plays coming out of the Sand King, and then the other one coming out of Crane, just absolutely dropping the hammer as far as team fighting goes.
I gotta tell you, when I saw the Sand King go in, I didn't think Tide would have gotten there in time. I thought that was a little preemptive of the Sand King, but it obviously worked out. Their timing was better than mine. And yeah, I didn't realize Crane had completed the refresher. But,
well, Sven buys back, and so does Silencer, so maybe they try to defend here. Last word goes out on Crane, and honestly, they don't have too much to defend here. Futse will dodge that Sven stun again, using that timing of leap, using that timing of leap to dodge it, dodging mini stuns and projectiles. Something you should be doing as a Mirana player and practicing, but now as the Dire side, I think what you really have to do is really turtle up, in a sense, as a team, and you just gotta get the team fight in a way that Sven can just do his job. If Sven does his job, you win the fight. But the way it's working right now is, I feel like they're just getting controlled by, you know, the multiple levels of initiation, because you have the Epicenter, Burrow Strike, you have the double Ravage now, and you have to worry about Death Prophet standing in the fight and just dealing a ton of damage passively.
Yeah, they don't seem to have enough ways to deal with it. I think you're right in the sense that right now what they have to do is just kind of turtle up and hope that they win the next team fight because of a big global silence. I think that's the only thing they've got going for them right now. I think they've given way too much up in this mid game against a strong mid game team, and I don't see the Radiant really letting up here. I think they can either push, or if they see the Dire really turtling up, then maybe they'll just farm a little bit. They already have the 3 highest net worth heroes in the game right now with Tide, Death Prophet, and Mirana. I just see an arrow fly out and almost hit Vengeance, but
Crane does buy a Dagon and sells it just for the glamour, I guess.
okay.
Oh, Crane. But now they're going to go ahead and go for the fight here, and with Refresher coming up in 20 seconds, this is definitely good timing. AA ult will fly out, and if they go high ground right now, after the Frostbitten effect ends, they could regret using that AA ult, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. AA ult debuff is over, and they will move in here. Death Prophet ulti popped, and they do get silence on the Razor. Mirana ult is active right now as well, but there are multiple wards down, and the stun goes out from the Sven Global as well, but a great Yules is dodges it for Goofy, and he's just standing in the front line, and now the Sven is moving in. He's used BKB, but again, that great timing by the Ravage on Crane, and now the Blink in with the Epicenter cleans up another hero in the background, and looks like the Silencer is going to fall as well as the Razor's running away, but the Ravage stunning the rest of them, and even though the A is still alive, they're just going to ignore him because they should. They should just get these structures and go ahead and guarantee the win, but never mind. Sand King says, no, sir, I want the kill. And goes for the kill, but this is exactly what they needed to do, and Dota Waffle Squad is going to call GG. So, great game in a lot of ways out of Jolly Judas. A few mistakes in the mid game, and, you know, it happens. But honestly, a decent performance in the first game, and if they can keep with this and, like, kind of shore up a few of the mistakes, they definitely have a strong chance continuing on into the tournament.
Yeah, you know, we've seen twice now that these guys can play. And, you know, I'm a little biased because I used to play with them, but they can play as long as they, you know, clean up those few little mistakes. They can turn out to be a really, really good team. So hopefully they'll go a lot deeper in this tournament, and we'll get to catch more of their games.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And honestly, Dota Waffle Squads has a lot to look forward to. They played well, and a few inexperienced decisions, and you know, you get some experience and fix those, and they could have easily taken this game from Jolly Judas, so they just need to keep working at it, and they can get there.
I think they could have refined their draft a little bit. I think they got pushed around a little bit in the early game, but there were some moments of brilliance there. Some moments where they actually played really well, and then there were some moments where, you know, they tried to force things a little too much at the wrong time. So if they clean that up, these guys can be a good team too.
Alright guys, well that does it for us on this game. I will be updating the title as well as the waiting screen for the next game we'll be casting. If you enjoyed this cast, please follow at Nizcast, my co-caster. You can also check out my Twitter, my YouTube, and my Twitch. All are Dota Raptors in one way or another for each of the websites. So thank you, and we will see you guys in the next game.